"You're a pathetic loser, a true man would fulfill me," my wife sneered as she abandoned me for my brother. They taunted me, labeled me a fool, and shared a kiss in front of me as I finalized the divorce papers. I just chuckled. But 2 weeks later, she was at my door, broken, homeless, and pleading like a stray. I never imagined I'd be spilling my personal chaos on Reddit, but here I am at 2 a.m. sleepless. For background, I'm Daniel, 34, and until 3 weeks ago, I believed I had a solid life with my wife, Emily, 32. We'd been married 7 years, together for 9. We're not wealthy, own a modest 3-bedroom home. I drive a fully paid Toyota, and she has a Kia we're still paying off. The first warning sign came in February when Emily changed her phone passcode. We'd always shared codes for ease. Suddenly, she'd flip her phone face down when I entered or take it to the shower. I brushed it off at first. Then came the girls' nights, jumping from once a month to twice weekly. She'd return reeking of men's cologne. When I pointed it out, she accused me of being possessive, despite me urging her to enjoy herself while I stayed home grinding Dark Souls. Intimacy dried up by March. Whenever I tried, she claimed exhaustion or disinterest. I didn't press, assuming we'd sort it out. What should have screamed betrayal was how she dressed up when my brother Nathan, 31, visited for our monthly dinners. She'd wear the dress I always praised, spend extra time on her makeup. I felt pleased she cared about family appearances. Oblivious, huh? Nathan was always the charismatic brother, athletic, dated attractive women, works in marketing with a leased Audi he struggles to maintain. We weren't tight as kids, but got along as adults. Last month, Emily proposed a 4th of July barbecue. I took the day off to prep while she ran errands, promising to return by noon. At 11:30, I realized we needed charcoal. Texted her, no reply. Called voicemail. I drove to the store. It's near a rundown motel, the kind with rooms facing the parking lot. There was Emily's Kia beside Nathan's Audi outside room 107. I froze, staring. Part of me wanted to barge in, but a strange calm settled over me. I snapped photos of their cars and drove home to wait. Emily returned at 12:45, beaming with a tale about bumping into a coworker at Walmart. I nodded, asking her to help with the grill. The barbecue kicked off at 2. Nathan showed up at 2:30, blaming construction. I observed them closely, avoiding glances, keeping space, but stealing looks when they thought I wasn't watching. I played the perfect host while mentally rewriting 7 years of memories. After guests left, Emily kept shooting me odd glances as we tidied up quietly. When she asked what was wrong, I revealed I'd seen her car at the motel with Nathan's. She didn't bother denying it. 9 months, she confessed. 9 months. While I worked extra shifts for her birthday trip, nursed her through the flu, planned our milestone anniversary. I told her to get out. She refused, citing her name on the deed. I grabbed a suitcase and crashed at my parents', offering vague excuses about marital issues. The next day, I consulted a divorce attorney. In our state, infidelity impacts divorce settlements. I showed the lawyer the car photos and text exchanges from our shared tablet, where her phone had synced carelessly. 2 days later, Emily requested a meeting at a cafe. Nathan was there, arm draped over her, a ruby necklace I didn't gift sparkling on her neck. They claimed their affair was unplanned, driven by unstoppable passion. Emily demanded the house, her car, with me covering payments and half our savings. I'd keep my $401k and agreed-upon personal items. I rejected the deal. She argued she'd contributed equally to the home. Nathan played peacemaker, saying they wanted a clean slate for their future. That's when Emily snapped, "You're a worthless failure. A real man would please me. Nathan gives me what you never did. Sign the papers and let us move on." I walked out, saying we'd settle in court. 3 days later, at my attorney's office, they sat intertwined while signing preliminary divorce documents. Nathan kissed her forehead in front of me and the lawyers. I laughed, a genuine, startling laugh. When Emily asked what was amusing, I said, "You'll see," and kept signing. That was 2 weeks ago. Emily moved out while I was at work. She shacked up in Nathan's cramped apartment he can barely afford. They're flaunting couple photos on Instagram with love emojis. Meanwhile, I've been silent, strategizing, plotting. This tale is just beginning. Update 1: the response to my last post blew me away, thanks to all who chimed in. Here's the update you requested. It's been a month since Emily ditched me for Nathan. The first week was brutal, sleepless nights, no appetite, binging Breaking Bad while dodging friends, typical post-breakup spiral. But on day 8, I woke up feeling unburdened, as if my mind had accepted freedom from someone who disrespected me. That morning, I found Emily's old laptop in the guest room closet. She'd switched to a new Dell last year but kept this as a spare. I booted it up to check for critical files before resetting it. The sluggish Lenovo finally loaded, and her Chrome was still signed in. Her bookmarks included a folder labeled Dream Wedding. The dates stunned me. She'd been saving venues, gowns, and tropical getaways for 7 months while we were still married. The woman who complained about our cracked patio had pinned a $3,500 elopement package. Her Google Photos revealed her and Nathan at upscale bars, wearing outfits I didn't recognize. One shot showed them clinking wine glasses in a hotel suite, time-stamped 2 days after my birthday when she claimed to be stuck at the office. Her Gmail held approval emails for 4 new credit cards, racked up with $19,000 in debt I was clueless about. In our state, marital debt is shared unless proven separate. I called my attorney and spent that night compiling a spreadsheet of her purchases. Luxury bags, spa weekends, a $1,100 watch, all while nagging me to cut back. The next day, my friend Jake, who works with Nathan, asked to grab drinks. At the pub, he spilled that Nathan had been boasting about taking my house and planning upgrades once the divorce wrapped. Jake also said Nathan had borrowed $2,500 from him 3 months ago, plus cash from other colleagues, and was behind on his car loan. It clicked. Nathan always spent beyond his means, but I hadn't grasped the extent. Reviewing our mortgage papers, I verified I'd covered the full down payment from my aunt's inheritance. I also recalled my recent pay bump, which Emily didn't know about. I'd funneled the extra into a separate account, planning to surprise her with a cruise. The next morning, I closed our joint account, moving my share to my personal one. When Emily texted, demanding why she couldn't access it, I ignored her. I skipped Nathan's voicemail too. Instead, I emailed Emily screenshots of her hidden cards, wedding plans, and photos from her late nights. When she begged to talk, I referred her to my attorney. That weekend, I uncovered another shocker, a promissory note where Nathan borrowed $14,000 3 years ago for a business venture. He'd paid sporadically for 5 months, then stopped. I texted him, demanding a repayment schedule for the $11,500 balance by Thursday, or I'd sue. When he pulled the "We're family" card, I reminded him contracts don't include "steal my wife" clauses. Meanwhile, I hit the gym, reconnected with buddies, and started cooking proper dinners. Baby steps toward healing. Through mutual friends, I heard Emily and Nathan were clashing. Overdue bills, tight quarters, and Nathan's flirting with bartenders losing its charm. My mother-in-law, Karen, dropped by unexpectedly. She said Emily had asked for a loan, claiming I was financially cruel during the divorce. But Karen had seen their Instagram posts of lavish dinners and wasn't fooled. Before leaving, Karen handed me a flash drive from Emily's old PC. It held emails between Emily and Nathan stretching back 20 months, longer than I'd thought. There were also messages to her friends, whining that I was dull and she'd settled for stability. One email from Nathan to Emily outlined their scheme. "Once we're clear, we'll sell the house, clear my loans, and start over. Daniel won't know how deep I'm in." Yesterday, my attorney confirmed the new evidence tilts heavily in my favor. The house will likely stay mine, and I may dodge her secret debt. As I left his office, Emily posted on Instagram, "Tough roads lead to beautiful destinations," with a photo of them at a fancy cafe. I grinned. Tomorrow, Nathan's loan payment is due. My attorney has collection papers ready, Emily's hidden debt is documented for court, and my promotion included a bonus that just hit my account. They thought they were toasting a fresh start. They didn't know they were celebrating on quicksand. Update 2, the support on my last posts has been incredible. Here's what went down after I yanked the financial ground from beneath Emily and Nathan. It began with a PayPal alert while I was lifting weights, Nathan requesting $2,000 for urgent car maintenance. The nerve. I saved the screenshot and finished my set. That afternoon, Nathan's landlord called, hunting for him. He was 3 weeks late on rent and had listed me as a reference. The landlord noted Emily wasn't on the lease, living there unofficially. 3 days after my loan collection letter, I saw them at my usual cafe. Emily was flailing her arms while Nathan glared at his phone, teeth gritted. Their vibes screamed conflict. When she grabbed his wrist, he jerked away and stormed off, leaving her red-faced. I slipped out unnoticed. Later that week, Jake texted that Nathan got sacked. He'd been tardy, missing quotas, and finally snapped at his boss after a client issue. Security marched him out. The next day, I got a reply to my loan notice from a shady legal service, claiming the loan was a sibling gift, despite the signed agreement. My attorney placed a lien on Nathan's car, his sole asset. During our weekly chat, my mom said Nathan accused me of sabotaging him out of spite. After seeing the loan contract, my dad agreed it was legit. They'd also rejected Nathan's plea for cash. On Monday, I noticed a U-Haul at my neighbor Tom's place with Emily's Kia parked nearby. Tom texted, confirming Emily and Nathan were buying his house, set to close soon. How could they afford it? Nathan was jobless, Emily's credit was shot, and they had no savings. Public records revealed a sketchy mortgage with a 4% down payment and crushing monthly costs. Their application inflated Nathan's income to $90,000, citing his old job plus fake freelance gigs. It hid Emily's credit card debt and shockingly listed anticipated proceeds from selling my house. They were banking on splitting my home's value despite my sole down payment. I had my attorney send a cease and desist to the lender. The mortgage was flagged for scrutiny. 3 days later, Emily showed up at my door, eyes swollen, hair in a sloppy bun. She yelled about me destroying her life while I calmly said I was safeguarding my rights. When she claimed half the house, I asked about their plan to sell it for Nathan's debts. Her face drained. She didn't know I'd read that email. She admitted Nathan lost big on stocks and borrowed from buddies to chase losses. When she said they were losing the apartment with nowhere to go, I felt a flicker of pity. Then I recalled their betrayal. I told her she should have weighed the fallout before pinning her future on Nathan. Her stunned look said it all. I mentioned browsers save history and suggested private mode next time. She slammed the door as she left. Nathan's voicemail later blended rage and panic, saying I'd proven my point while they sank. I didn't reply. At the supermarket, Emily's friend Sarah said Emily had found texts between Nathan and a coworker. Karma's a mirror. Emily asked to crash with Sarah, who declined out of respect for me. The next morning, I got our divorce hearing date, 3 weeks out. My attorney called with news. Nathan agreed to a payment plan and dropped any claim to my house to avoid immediate full repayment. That night, I found a handwritten note from Emily in my mailbox. She'd made a horrible mistake. Nathan wasn't the man she imagined. Nothing panned out. She'd left him and was at a budget motel on Lakeside, begging me to call. I stared at the letter, feelings churning. Instead of answering, I snapped a photo and texted it to her mom. Emily may need you. Then I blocked her number. Some bridges should stay ashes. Final update: this is my last update. Thanks to everyone who's followed my saga. Sharing with strangers has been oddly healing. 2 weeks after blocking Emily, life found a new rhythm: work, workouts, occasional drinks with friends. The divorce hearing loomed, and I started scouting condos for a clean slate. Last Saturday morning, frantic knocking jolted me awake. My doorbell cam showed Emily, a shadow of her former self, greasy hair, oversized sweatshirt, backpack at her feet. I opened the door but barred entry. She pleaded for a few minutes, saying she was homeless. I let her in to avoid a scene, stressing her time was short. She sat stiffly on my sofa, spilling that she dumped Nathan after catching him texting multiple women. When I noted the irony, she blushed. Her tale unraveled fast. Nathan's bleak job hunt lies about loans from his family, selling her car without consent for gambling debts, not a house deposit. The kicker: he'd opened a credit line in her name using her ID. When I suggested filing for fraud, she said she couldn't prove non-consent since they cohabited. Cops would call it a lover's quarrel. Her ask was obvious: crash in my guest room for a week. I shut it down. She accused me of relishing her pain while I said I was just holding boundaries, not obligated to clean up her mess. As she left, she tossed a half compliment. Nathan called me spineless and easy to con, but he misjudged. I had grit. 3 hours later, Nathan appeared looking rough, stubbled, bleary-eyed, wearing a creased shirt from his latest Instagram. He demanded to know what Emily shared, insisting she lied and wrecked everything. He pinned all fault on her. She racked up debt, pushed for a house they couldn't swing, demanded a life he couldn't fund. I remarked it sounded like her playbook during our marriage, which seemed to jolt him. When he asked to come in, I refused. His charm faded as he played the "we're brothers" card. I corrected him. Brothers don't betray each other's spouses. His pleas turned to fury when I wouldn't budge. He cited Emily's gripes about me being dull in bed and just existing. I countered that, despite her complaints. She stayed 7 years until a shinier prospect appeared. That broke him. He lunged, but I slammed the door as he hammered it, yelling before slinking off. I reported the incident to the non-emergency line. The next day, Emily texted from a new number requesting a meeting. I ignored it. She texted again, seeking closure. I blocked that too. Monday, she cornered me in my office lot, saying they were both on the street after Nathan gambled their last dime. She'd sold her engagement ring for a motel bed. When I asked if it was my ring or Nathan's promised one, her silence spoke volumes. I reminded her our divorce hearing was Friday. She admitted she couldn't afford counsel and would self-represent. As I walked off, she clutched my sleeve, asking where the compassionate guy I was went. I said I was still compassionate, just not to traitors. That night, my attorney said Emily had filed for emergency alimony, citing destitution. He assured me the evidence against her would sink it. At Friday's hearing, Emily sat alone in ill-fitting clothes while I wore my sharpest suit. The judge swiftly reviewed our case, denying her alimony due to her proven misconduct and affair. The divorce was finalized. House and savings stayed mine. Emily got her belongings and her secret debt. The judge suggested she pursue fraud charges against Nathan if her claims held water. Outside court, Emily approached me one last time, eyes steady, voice firm. "I made the worst mistake of my life," she said. "Not just the affair, I undervalued everything we built." I nodded silently. "Is there any chance?" she began. "No," I cut her off. "There's not." She nodded slowly. "I get it. For what it's worth, I'm sorry." "I hope you find peace, Emily," I said and walked away. That was 2 months ago. I sold the house and bought a loft downtown. I've been seeing someone new, casual for now, just dinners and chats. Word is Emily moved in with her parents, and Nathan skipped town after his car was repoed. Sometimes I wonder what might have happened if I'd been the type to let betrayal slide, to forgive with a shrug. But I'm not that guy. Never was. That's why they both ended up at my door, shattered and desperate. They mistook compassion for weakness, reliability for dullness, integrity for ego. They were wrong.